We are only inviting Mr. Xie from Alibaba, who is the chief architect of AliOS Things. So he will do some introduction about AliOS Things, the architecture and the features, such kind of things. So welcome.
So good afternoon, everyone. So my name in Chinese is Xie Linfeng. So if for people who has difficulty to pronounce my Chinese name, you can come in here. So I'm coming from the IoT business unit of Alibaba Cloud. Before I joined Alibaba, I had been working for Windows, one of the leading embedded operating system company, and I have some friends in lobby. So I was served as engineering director and principal technologist of Windows before I joined Alibaba. And when I came to my new company, I'm now in charge of our IoT operating system and edge computing in our BU. So here I'm honored to present the AliOS Things, the new generation of IoT operating system. So everyone may notice that for some terms as like to power billions of intelligent things. It looks like some advertising terms, but actually I would say I mean it. So Alibaba's commitment on IoT is very serious. So we do believe that with long continuous investment, we have good opportunity to have the operating system to power billions of internet things. So this is the agenda for today. First, I think that us revisit the changes for operating systems within the age of the Internet of Things. Then I will give a very complete introduction of the AliOS Things, the new generation of IoT operating system made by Alibaba Cloud. And since this is going to a collaboration effort, so I want to also explore the opportunity to how we can work together to enable the whole community. So this picture gives us the vision of the changing for operating systems within the new age of Internet of Things. So now we have the dream, and everyone knows that the IoT or Internet of Things is a very hot buzzword. And so the vision of the people is that we get everything connected. So not just connected with the cloud and also with each other. So with this connected world, then we can have the new application model, we have the new business, we also have the better and more rich user experience. We can have the cost down and everything up. They're all dreams. So, but as regarding to the reality, so still that I think that when we think that now is almost the second decade of 21st century, so we should not worry about the infrastructure. But the thing is that the infrastructure is still a problem for us. So if we look into the open system market for IoT is very fragile and not satisfying. The pains we have is that first, since we have very fragile market, so the cost for system and application development is still very high. So today I write an application for operating system A. Then next time, next project I'm going to change because my MCU vendors force me to do that. Then I have to port the application to MCU B. So that's I have to pay for some cost I don't want to afford. So that's the problem. And also, for each of this fragile, since when we talk about maybe more than 100 operating systems in the market, so for every one, they have very small ecosystems. So the ecosystem of the hardware, tuning, and function component are not rich. Also, in the IoT world, that the security is very, the big change for us. But back to the old days, we're all coming from the old embedded world. So in that world, devices not connected to each other. So we don't care too much about like connectivity, security, and something like that. So if you look into the ATOS, it's sometimes they don't have a network stack. So sometimes it's not a problem in old days, but a problem in new days. So for those operating systems, so the system level security and safety are not granted. Also the new application model, when we talk about IoT, the expectation is that we should have the new application model to have the cloud side to collaborate with the edge side. But if you go with the old traditional ATOS, you don't have such like things for you to work with, to start with. So this is very difficult to be implemented. So even we have all those dreams that the Internet of Things world will become better and make a lot of opportunities. Without the right infrastructure, the right is still very crucial and we cannot move forward. So that's the reason that why Alibaba is very called as a public cloud vendor want to enter into this fragile market. So when people say, oh no, another operating systems, why guys want to do that? We already have 100 of them. The thing that Alibaba Cloud wants to do this because we do believe back to the term that we believe we can end this fragile market. And eventually we have maybe, I'm not sure that we have only one operating system, but at least that reduce from 100 to 10 or 2 or 3. That makes everyone's life better. So here comes the AliOS Things. We're starting the investment starting around 2 years ago. We have done 2 years of internal development before it's going to public. The public announcement made at the Computing Conference 2017, also known as Yunqi. So that's hosted by the Alibaba Cloud in last October. So 2 years after we starting the development. And the first open source release has been through GitHub in November 2017. Since that, we have issued 5 releases. Everything is on GitHub, so people can check about the numbers. Within just 4 months, we'll get more than 200 stars. So meaning this is popular. So people have interest in that. So I would like to invite everyone to try it and give you your feedback. So what makes us different? So when we talk about the IoT operating systems, we talk about 2 things. First, you need an operating system. So for operating systems, the fundamental part has not changed since maybe last 50 years. So it needs to be, it needs to be supported by someone. It needs to be scalable. It needs to be safe and secure. It needs to be optimized, and you should have ecosystems. So those are very fundamental parts. So if you want to make good operating system, you cannot avoid any of them. So that's why a traditional operating system still need that. We do also have this aspect as well, and many of others. But what makes us different is what I put in the center of the site. We call Link. So Link is actually the brand of our IoT product portfolio. So we call Link this and Link that. So Link is the things that you convert a traditional ATOS with a real IoT operating system by add the application framework, add the device management, by optimized collaboration between the cloud, the edge, and the device. So this is the overall architecture of AliOS Things. So we're starting from the bottom to the top. At the bottom there, so we're trying to cover as much as possible the silicon processors as possible. So we support definitely ARM processors. So we cover every sub-architecture of ARM and also x86, extensor, Sky, MIPS. So whatever embedded processors you can see from the market are still relevant. So the reason we want to invest that much to cover whole portfolio, trying to convert, don't avoid people, the application designers to not have to deal with ugly hardware details. So we do this for you. And above that, we provide actually 2 operating system kernels. So one is the traditional RTOS, and for more, the RTOS is for very resource-constrained IoT devices. And we also add the embedded Linux. So that's for more powerful devices and IoT gateways. And also we have our own, the Trust OS for the TEE, and our own connector ID, that's for added security. So that's the OS part. For every application developer, if the open system is going to change the API very frequently, that's going to be a real nightmare for everyone. So we're trying to keep a stable APIs. So we call it AliOS APIs. And also on this part, I want to work with the community to maybe to define the common API set. I just discussed with some of friends in the morning. So we're trying to keep this layer stable, just for the benefit of the application designers. So we are also trying to, for this initiative, we are also going to support Synthesis RTOS API. So that's one of the standard by the ARM. For Linux and Node, that is quite standard. So we support Linux native APIs. So on top of them, there's just the traditional operations part. On top of them, we have a lot of value-adding middlewares. We have this, the FOTA, the OTA upgrade device service. We have this, I'll go into details of each of them, but we have this, the local collaboration framework, we call it UMesh. We have the sensor management framework, we have UData, and also we have the secret lightweight script engines. Also including this, the support of all the IoT connectivities you can imagine, and also the lightweight GUI. So for some of the, I would say the high performance IoT devices and also IoT gateways, you need more powerful local computing and storage engines. So for some of seniors, especially for the Linux profile, we are going to add the vision and the voice processing SDKs from the silicon partners, and also we add the time-sensitive database and analytics. So on the top layer, we have this link blah blah blah. So that's the family of the link product for us. So I have this basically connectivity called Link Kate. We have our Edge framework we call Link Edge. We have this band for the voice, for Link Voice, and also for video with Link Vision. On the right side, we have the whole rich tooling for development test and operations, that including our the code repository management and the IDE. IDE is important, and also we support not just native IDE, and also the third-party IDE is popular in the market. We have this sort of remote virtual lab to facilitate people to doing remote debugging, and also the whole sort of tools we are going to add to facilitate operation of the whole ecosystems. So you see that we made a lot of effort trying to expand the portfolio and also cover the ecosystem as possible. First, starting from this page, I'm going to talk about a couple of things, the component by component. So starting from the kernel, actually the kernel is not 60 in these days, right? So let's just move quickly, but I still will have these kernels. So I just want to say that you don't see much of the difference from the kernel side because they're hiding behind, but it's still important that at least they should have a rock solid kernel. So this kernel has everything you would expect from other decent ones. So we have clearly defined and stable RTOS and hardware abstraction layer APIs. It's optimized for node footprint. It has predictable kernel with optimizations to reduce interrupt and task cleaning policy. It's a low power framework. It has rich back features with grand LAN and integration to popular toolings. So there's a comparison to some of our friends. Now, that doesn't matter. I think that our friends will show something different. But right, the point is that everyone's providing on the same level. The kernel is not 60. It's not the different part, but they still need that. That's the point. Okay, so what makes IoT open system different? Just starting from here. So you have rich communication, the connectivity options. So that's what we have today, and we are making continuous investment to enrich the offering. So it's including the LDIP storage stack. We have the SOAP application layer for extra communication modules. So we have support of various wireless connectivity, including Wi-Fi, BLE, that including version 4.2 and 5.0, and SigMesh, that's newly emerging. And also the LoRa 1, GPRS, and BIoT. Also, since mesh is very important for the scenes collaboration, so we have our own mesh networking technology. They'll cover the SigMesh for Bluetooth, the BLE, and also our proprietary UMesh technologies. So let's go next more details around this mesh networking stuff. So this is mesh networking with SigMesh. This is not a lab demo, but a demo with Raspberry Pi 3 as provisioner and MCU powered by our open system as a mesh node. So this actually, the SigMesh is not of commercial just in recent days, so we have quickly catch up on this archive. This part is regarding to the premise UMesh. We actually created that before the SigMesh had emerged in the market. The reason that I don't think that the mesh is very important for, as said, for scenes collaboration going forward. But we do want to get it need to be decoupled with specific protocols, the connectivity protocols, meaning that you can. So we support the Wi-Fi, support 5.4 with BLE. So that's make it a common mesh framework for various connectivity technologies. So also we have this no power mode. We support both tray and mesh technology. It's plug and play, so it's try it and you find this actually it's very fun. Also, there's something that in recent days, if we are talking about the IoT device, the sensor part is very important. Especially you should have an extensible sensor framework. So that's why we put heavy investment for our own sensor management framework. We call it data. So why you want to call sensor management as a data? Because that for sensors, you can just get the data. You also want to convert into a model. So model will be defined. We actually have a model so defined across the cloud and for the edge and those devices. So we use this framework to allow the sensor vendors to add their own drivers and add various sensors, but to convert a unified model. So that we call data, and then send to the cloud. Also for the IoT device, one technology is very important is FOTA, regarding to how you can do the upgrade over the air. It's very important and also very dangerous. Everyone know about that, right? So if you don't want to get your, it's easy to make anything of after upgrading make a break. So you cannot, even respond. So it has to be very secure and also need to be optimized, because for IoT you have to deal with a couple of connective options, and some of them are very, very low bandwidth. So we also spend a lot of effort trying to optimize our photo option for make it fit for the high bandwidth connectivity, also low bandwidth connectivities. Okay, so I put a lot of the link above out here, so people will understand how link works. So I give an example of link voice. So you can answer that's why IoT open system is different than traditional RTOS. So for the link voice stuff, it's pretty much centered around how you're going to do the voice processing. And you have to divide the workload in the local load and also on the cloud side. So for the device side, we still have traditional audio input, out APIs. We have this HL layers, we have the standard enterprise audio codecs. This is very traditional old school style for the system to support audio. But what makes it different? On cloud side, we have our one-stop voice interchange solution. That not just from Alibaba, also from our third-party vendors and the experiencing. We have a market for that actually. So you can add skills. So this one-stop solution on the cloud side for the technology, service, content, and ecosystems. So when the device marries with the cloud, you can make something very different. So, and it can do in the applied voice control and for voice seamless, especially for smart home. So I'm not sure how many people has tried our smart voice control. We call it, I don't know the English name, but the Chinese name came out in it, right? So I think I know a lot of people mean it actually the large volumes, the shipping of the smart voice control device in the world. So it just not just I think the funny part is not just can do in the control. You can not our friend also show in the morning that they can do the similar thing. Just want to you can understand for NLP. So that's not very fun. The fun is that you cannot just use it and understand language, but also you can issue the command with it and control all the devices inside your home. That's something much more fun. So it's every link stuff that make your open system different. That you get the open system installed, and you don't have to worry about others. You will have your friend work with your friend on the cloud side and give an integrated solution for a lot of interesting stuff. Also, we're not just trying to assemble things together or put things together. We're trying to open things together. So there will be more and more recommended configuration for typing signals. So one of them is just show that as no bandwidth connection of the things to the cloud. If you're trying to create your bicycle and maybe something like the light bulbs, so then we'll recommend some configuration like you should use Clap as your communication channel. Then you have the photo with increment upgrading. You have our security solution. That will make sense. That's much more applied. You will get a smaller footprint. You get a lower power usage. That filtering for no bandwidth and also shoot for end-to-end security. So just follow the configuration, and you don't have to worry how I'm going to set out the best thing for myself. For open system, you cannot just deal with the runtime set. Every open system tooling is very important, maybe critically important. For this, we also make another investment. We provide our own, I would say not a complete IDE, but some of the tunings and plugins to the base code. So we call it AliOS Studio. And also, we realized that in this market, there are other popular IDEs, like our friend, Kill, that have their very powerful IDEs in the market. And also there are other players like IAR. So we're trying to create, to make, we will have all still select plugins, but we also support the other IDs. Actually, I'm working with our friends on the ID side and trying to provide open support for them. So just want to facilitate people to doing their development. This is something that is still inside, but we'll open it for public service very soon. We call it U-Device Center. We're doing open system development. One of the advantages is that you will get a lot of ports, physical ports for access. So we actually have a lot of device pool inside our lab. So we're going to open this live service for the whole community. So you don't have to, like us, get 100 ports. If you want to choose something, we are working with our friends on the silicon vendors, and they'll help us get some port, and we share that with this device center. Then you can just remote connect them and do remote debugging through this infrastructure. So that's what I do. Okay, so that's the whole ecosystem for IoT Things. I want to emphasize that this is something that Alibaba Cloud has made very heavy investment on. But it's not just for our own self. Even for inside Alibaba, we have huge IoT business. But this is not for our own group. This is for the whole community. So we value and cherish a very healthy ecosystem than anything else. So in this ecosystem, just like other IoT open systems, there are players as for us, Alibaba Cloud, and for semiconductors. So they provide hardware. And that actually, to be more specific, they provide processors. And we also have other players for the device and the modules. And also we have the software, the independent software vendors to provide solutions. So we need to have all the powerful, every piece of ecosystem, get them together, then they serve the end users better. So we need the iPad design to get every party of this ecosystem to easily to join us and to get your own benefit from that. So we encourage everyone to contribute on growth and adoption for iOS Things, and we'll provide professional support for that, especially for upstream, for the chip vendors, so for silicon vendors. So we will support you, to get our open system enabled on your hardware offering. Also, we provide certification program for commercial usage of iOS Things, and we commit for enterprise-level support on certified devices powered by our open systems. So this is the summary definition of the ecosystem growth. We doing public release around 4+ months ago, so it's not actually a short while ago. So we now have supported 20+ of cloud models from 16 semiconductor companies running or in progress. So I list some of logos. So if I know some of the our friends are sitting in here. So if your logo has not been listed here, don't get upset. That mainly because that our marketing guys have not get agreement from you. But we actually have more marketing member of the company had already started working with us on that. Also, we have 100 product device and modules certified for commercial usage with tens of millions of real shipments. So, to my last page of the slides. So this is call to action. So we encourage everyone to try it through the GitHub release. We are all technical guys. I think that you want me you want to read the code, not just listen me to blah 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 this thing, right? So you read the code, and let us know that what you feel or think could be done better. Also, we strongly encourage you to consider for your current project and next project, and let us know if you would like to contribute, and don't hesitate to apply if you support during travel. So they'll all be greatly appreciated. And one last will be not least important thing, we are hurrying. So if you want to join a company that with 3-digit increase and still doing very fun stuff, approach me. So we have a position for you. Okay, that's my side. Then I'm open for questions.
Hi, Aaron.
Hey.
I have some question about security. You mentioned the TE, so do you mean AliOS supports the full TE API site, or this TE is not about the global platform?
We have our own proprietary TE implementation, so that was done a dedicated security team. Oh. Yeah, but so I think I need to double check around that which standard they have conformed to. But my understanding that they actually conform to standard GPAE.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question is, do you have plan to comply with PSA? It's ARM or platform security architecture. Because you mentioned it supports ARM V8.
I would say that yes, we are considering on that. Not yes, we are done that. So we will work with ARM community on that. So since that, we also have our own standard body we call ICA. So that's, we are also trying to promote some of the IoT security standards which cover operating system and other aspects. We need to check with our friend from the ARM side. So actually, we have strong connection with ARM. So I actually talked with one of the key guys in the PSA team before we brainstorm something. So I would say that it's in progress, but let's see what we'll end up with.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? No. So maybe last question, anybody? Otherwise, maybe we need to move to next session. Okay, thank you very much.